Hi everyone, my name is Ruth Sinkeler. I live in Suriname. Suriname is a country on the northern coast of South America above Brazil and in between British Guyana and French Guyana. Why am I recording this video? A few years ago in 2013, when I was still living in the Netherlands, I lost my company after almost 10 years. So you can imagine the shock that I was in. And yeah, and you all can also imagine that I was not in a very good state of mind and not very happy at that moment. It was a very, very difficult period of time in my life. And a lot of people, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus situation that the world is in now, are facing the same circumstances, probably. Losing their companies, losing their jobs, losing their income. And yes, it's hard and it's difficult. And in the beginning, at first you feel like, you know, the earth is just gonna swallow you up and you have nothing to live for anymore. And I really can imagine because I've been there in 2013, May 2013, to be exact, May 29, 2013, at 10 a.m. I was at the courthouse in Amsterdam and the judge told me, well, madam, you don't have a company anymore. You are broke. It's done. It's over. But yeah, that was it. And I was still there and I had my house, I had my mortgage, I had other things to pay. What was I going to do? During the years that I had my company, I also allowed myself to study a lot. I did 2 NLP courses, I did my CTI coachings training, and I did my CTI leadership training. And after 2 months of crying after I lost my company, and I was crying and I was living off my savings, but you know what it is about savings, they don't grow just overnight. So I didn't have any income. I luckily had my savings and I luckily had a great group of friends helping me through this difficult period of time. And then I started to coach myself. I thought after 2 months of crying, okay, so crying does not help. Your eyes blow up, your face looks bad, ridiculous sometimes even. Um, it was summertime in the Netherlands, so I had even better tan than I have today because I had lots of sun in my garden. But it also gave me time to think and to think, okay, so I lost my company, I have cried for 2 months, what now? And that's when I started to take steps. And that's when I started to change some things. And that's when I started to think about, okay, so what is it that I really want? Because I get a second chance now. And I started to build myself up again. Slowly but surely started my coaching practice, smaller, and then with baby steps, it grew. And then my creativity, when I got my first clients, I was like, whoa, I can get clients now. And it made me happy. And it slowly killed all the insecurity. Okay, not all the insecurities, but a lot of insecurities. And it got me going again. So in February 2014, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna write down the steps that I took and the things that helped me to get out of that dark period of my life that I was in after I lost my company and my income. I had zero income, but now my creativity was sparked again. I was still not making the money that I was used to making, but I could live, I could eat, I could pay my mortgage, and those were the basic things, right? So I started writing and I started writing. So in February, I got the idea and I started writing beginning of March 2014. And on May 6th, there was the book, the first edition of Sexy Leadership, as I called it. And it was in Dutch. It was the first edition on May, I think May 6th, 2014, because I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote almost day and night in between my coaching clients. and everything. I wrote at night. I didn't go anywhere. So in 2 months, I finished the book. Friends helped me with the design. They helped me with the editing and everything. So I'm still very grateful. If you are watching, I'm very grateful to you. You know who you are. And then in 2015, I moved back to my country of birth, Suriname, where I live today. And as a lot of people over the world, we have to stay inside as much as possible, keep our social distancing, flattening our curve. Luckily, we only have 10 positive cases, and 2 of which are already discharged from the hospital yesterday, I think. So it's going well, but we have to stick to the social distancing and keeping inside and washing the hands and everything to keep it as low as it is today. So I'm inside my house and I thought, you know what? Same thing, there's a crisis going on. I have to stay inside. What can I do to fill my days? And what are projects that I always wanted to do, but I never had the time because I was so busy doing my training and my team building and my coaching with companies here. So this is one of them. In 2017, I had the book translated in English, and we changed the cover and the looks, and that was this book. Then it's a whole different look than the first edition. So this is Sexy Leadership, the English version. And in this series, I'm going to read about the 5 steps of sexy leadership for you, because a lot of people don't know sexy leadership yet. And a lot of questions are being raised. So what is sexy leadership? Why is this word combined with leadership? And I hope that the readings that I do and my explanation will make it more clear for you why sexy leadership is called sexy leadership and why it works. Because from the beginning, from the first edition, the Dutch edition, Dutch being my native language, a lot of people, let I say that, a lot of people who bought the book and started to work with it, they changed their lives. I have 2 friends, specifically those 2. They became my friends because they bought the book. They came to my readings, my lectures that I did throughout the country in the Netherlands back then. And their lives have changed 180 degrees, and they are much, much happier and fulfilled now. And that's what sexy leadership does. And when you are feeling more confident, when you are feeling happy, when you live your passion, when you have found your purpose, that's what makes you and your energy more lively, and that's what radiates positive energy. And that's what sexy leadership is about, because people who are living their best life, people who are living their purposeful life, their passionate life, their happy life, those are sexy people. Those are attractive people that you want to hang out with, that you want to be friends with, that you want to do business with. Those are the leaders that you want to follow. Those are the leaders that make a positive impact on their communities, and within their jobs. So that's what sexy leadership is about. So I hope that I've given you a bit of more insight in who I am, and also made you curious about sexy leadership. So I'm going to read the 5 steps of sexy leadership. And of course, there's lots and lots more in this book. If you are interested, then the book is available on Amazon in paperback or easy in Kindle. You can find it on the Amazon Kindle store. So, chapter 1, sexy leadership has 5 steps, the 5 steps of sexy leadership. And each chapter, chapter 1 to 5, is telling you about the 5 steps. So step 1 of sexy leadership in chapter 1 is know you're smart. People are often more critical about themselves than they are positive, and that's a real shame. Undermining thoughts are as often, so I'm reading, right? So bear with me. Undermining thoughts, or as I often call them, saboteurs, play a large part in this. The saboteur in your head takes the lead and is fed by fear and insecurity. So what are saboteurs? The word saboteur stems from the French word sabot, or sabot maybe, which means a shoe or a clog. During the Industrial Revolution, wooden shoes or clogs were thrown into the new modern factory machines to sabotage them. Your own saboteurs. Occasionally, we all hear that discouraging little voice in the back of our heads that says, "You can't do this," or "This is not for you," or "You're not good enough." You want to look for another job or a better position, but in the end you don't. You want to tell your coworker or partner what is bothering you, but in the end you keep quiet. You want to say no to an assignment or request, but you end up doing it anyway. This is your own saboteur in action sitting on your shoulder and saying, "You're not capable of doing it," or "If you don't do this, you'll miss out," or "You're not worth it." We tend to listen to that little voice, and the consequence is that we fail to achieve those things that we really want to achieve. What should you do when your saboteurs prevent you from achieving your goals? When a saboteur starts to take up entirely too much space inside your head, preventing you from achieving your goals, there are a few things you can do. A little unconventional perhaps, but effective nonetheless, is to visualize your saboteur. For example, give your saboteur the voice, character, and/or body of an evil creature or an evil spirit who gives you all kinds of undermining messages. Once the voice has become an evil being, you can work from there. You can hit it, you can kick it, you can chase it away, do whatever you want to do. The point is, you have now visualized the voice which allows you to confront it. The second method is to contradict every negative thought with a positive one. If your saboteur says, "You can't do this," "You're not capable of doing this," and "You'll never be," think, "This might be a challenge for me, but I'm going to give it my all to successfully complete this task. Besides, I've done it before. Why wouldn't I be able to do it again?" This way, you can contradict all negative thoughts with positive ones. It's imperative that you repeat this process constantly so that your positive voice eventually becomes louder than the saboteur's negative voice. Fear and insecurity. Fear is like a weed that dwells inside of us and provides fertile ground for negativity and insecurity. It often controls our train of thoughts and course of action. The saboteurs I mentioned before dwell here too, as do our negative emotions. Fear and insecurity are often the result of earlier experiences gone wrong. Human beings have the nasty habit of thinking negatively about ourselves instead of positively. I'm still trying to figure out the reason for this, since it's not making us any better, nicer, or funnier as human beings. I think it has something to do with the fact that as a child we are taught to be quiet, not to stand out too much, and to follow the pack, as opposed to being stimulated to be sassy, stand out when you feel the need to, and to excel. I must say, this has changed over the years a little bit already, but not everywhere yet, and not enough yet. Of course, there are exceptions, but the majority of people were raised to lay low and be modest. As a child, if you are audacious and stand out, there is a real chance of being left out because the group can't identify with you. This is how fear and uncertainty develops and tells you, if I portray myself as being too intelligent, too exuberant, or too outgoing, I will no longer fit into the group and they won't like me. All that many people want is to be accepted, and so they follow the pack, even if it's not always what they really want. Know you're smart. You are you, and what you are is unique. While you are on your way to being sexy and successful, it's imperative that you start with what I talked about before. Know you're smart. If you're reading this book, chances are you have partially made a career for yourself and you're in the process of climbing the social ladder. Knowing what you're capable of comes in handy. And know what your qualities are when it comes to knowledge and experience. What did you learn from the education you received? Where did you excel? What kind of expertise do people consult you about on a personal level as well as in business? Identify your existing knowledge. Which subjects do people approach you about, and which subjects are you never approached about? When you're on your way to being sexy and successful, emphasize what you know and be honest about the things you know nothing about. Remember, sexy leadership is about authenticity, transparency, and openness. It's no use pretending to be smarter than you are. Eventually, you will be exposed, and that will get you nowhere. Besides, pretending to be something you're not has more to do with ego, which in my opinion is a form of leadership the world no longer needs. While striving for sexy leadership, summon the courage to do some soul searching about your smart and knowledge. Don't confuse your smarts with your strengths. This chapter, chapter 1, is about what you know and not about your capabilities and skills. That one we will address in the next chapter. So know your smart, share it with whomever you want so that you can contribute in your own way. I hope you enjoyed the first chapter of Sexy Leadership. After every chapter, there's a very inspiring interview with people from my personal network. And really, this guy, you want to read that interview. So, this is Sexy Leadership, written by me, Ruth Sinkeler. It's available on Amazon, in Kindle store, and in paperback. This was chapter 1, and I hope you are interested in hearing more about sexy leadership in chapter 2.